Unit 1, Lesson 1. What is conflict? Welcome to Conflict Resolution and Peacemaking, the class that teaches you how to manage interpersonal conflict and drama for yourself and others. I'm your instructor, David Lowry. I welcome you to this class and your first unit of study. Though not everyone takes this course for the same reason, this class is one of the required core courses for the Master of Arts in Leadership degree. We think it is important all of our leadership students not only understand the nature of communication and conflict, but have some helpful tools for reconciling differences. Whatever your reason for being here, we welcome you. Since this is a new class, some of you may not know about me. I want to take a moment and tell you a few things about me. As I said, my name is David Lowry. My doctorate is from the University of North Texas, and I've been teaching college-level communication courses for over 40 years. I love working in communication and conflict. 2 years ago, I wrote an online text for Kindle Hut Publishers entitled Peacemaking 101, Interpersonal Approaches for Eliminating Conflict and Drama. This graduate course will include much of my writing. Besides my academic training, I have studied Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication and Ken Sande's Relational 360 Peacemakers training. I will expose you to some of those concepts as well. I have completed mediation training offered by the state of Oklahoma. It allows me to do mediation work in small claims and family courts. But enough about me. Let's talk about this class. I've designed this online graduate course to help you learn about the mechanics of communication and conflict and provide helpful tools for helping yourself and others minimize conflict. Over the semester, this course will cover 12 units of study using a podcast, test, and reflection format. I will present a series of short lessons and slides, followed by a quick quiz or written response. Once you've completed the task in a unit, you will write a 2-page reflection on what you've learned. In 2 of the units, I will ask you to video a mock mediation with 2 other class members and schedule an online debrief of your work. Once all the units have been completed, you will write your final exam and complete the course. I want to be here for each of you in whatever way is helpful and appropriate. Please let me know if you have any questions or wish to discuss any of the concepts we cover as we go along. I'd be happy to meet with you at any time. So, knowing this, let's begin. Several years ago, I went to my favorite coffee shop to work on some grading and relax from the demands of my campus office. I enjoy coming to this place and think of it as a respite from the usual work routine. Though I can't fully explain it, I enjoy the feeling I get from working and writing here. A part of me needs seclusion and enjoys the anonymity of being another face in the crowd, while my extroverted nature enjoys being where people are nearby. Sometimes I will even see a friend or two and exchange greetings. Anyway, on this day, I was lucky enough to find a parking place while other cars were circling the lot. Before long, a man came storming into the store yelling, "Who's the idiot that left their car in the middle of the lot?" Someone had entered the store while leaving their car locked and running outside. Evidently, the car was blocking traffic and causing havoc. A man indicated that he owned the offending car, and a war of words soon began with name-calling, shouting, and profanity. Neither seemed willing to back down or apologize. Soon, an uncomfortable feeling spread throughout the store as the anger of both escalated. I distinctly remember the feeling of being frozen in place, unsure of what, if anything, I might do. At just the right moment, when it seemed one side or the other would throw a punch, someone stepped forward and yelled at both men to stop. He then chastised them as though they were little boys for making a scene in the store and ordered them to leave immediately. And interestingly, they did. Because we live at the speed of life, disagreements often spring up without warning and catch us off guard. Incidents like the parking lot are all too common. The daily news informs us of the latest incidences of anger, rage, rudeness, incivility, and violence. It is becoming a rare day if we do not witness some form of rude behavior, whether at the marketplace, work, politics, or even among our family and friends. Conflicts are everywhere. It almost seems as though we are immune to them. The truth is, most conflict and drama could easily be avoided if only one of the participants knew what to say or do. And so we want to welcome you to Peacemaking 101. We live in a world filled with conflict, but at the same time, we believe it is possible to teach people how to end most personal drama and encourage others to resolve theirs. If this sounds like something you are interested in, then let us welcome you to Peacemaking 101. The purpose of this class is to help you understand the essential elements of conflict and provide you with the peacemaking tools that you might resolve everyday disputes. While there are many ways we could teach a class like this, we are opting for a more practical approach. Each lesson will teach relevant theory and peacemaking concepts you can use every day. The work we ask you to do is not overly complicated or complex, but don't let that fool you. Peacemaking is a high leverage activity where a little effort yields greater than expected results. This course will encourage you to read, learn, and practice peacemaking. If you do, you will develop highly transferable skills that last a lifetime. Now let's begin our first unit entitled Defining Conflict and Peacemaking. Here, you will learn how scholars define the essential components of conflict and those people who commit themselves to making the world a better place. You might think defining conflict is a relatively easy thing to do. After all, in its simplest form, conflict is when somebody says or does something that brings about a negative or oppositional response. The Dictionary of Conflict Resolution lists 22 separate definitions for the term. If you could take the time and read them all, you would find each of the definitions stresses a particular dimension or another. Here are 5 of our favorites. When 2 or more individuals have preferences or goals that all cannot attain, a decision must be made about whose preferences or goals will prevail. In conflict, each party desires to attain dominance, the state or position of being in control, and achieve the desired goal or preference. Definition 2. Conflict can be defined as an escalated natural competition between 2 or more parties who believe they have incompatible goals and whose aim is to neutralize, injure, or gain advantage over the other party or parties. Number 3. Conflicts involve struggles between 2 or more people over values or competition for status, power, and scarce resources. Number 4. A conflict arises when 2 or more people or groups endeavor to pursue mutually inconsistent goals. And the last one we'll quote from the Dictionary of Conflict Resolution. Conflict is defined as a mutual hostility between or among individuals or groups. Hostility might be expressed in words, such as insults, name-calling, sarcasm, defamation, and so on, or actions, such as killing, fighting, destroying another's property. As you can see in the definitions we just mentioned, there are variances among the writers as they attempt to define conflict. Even so, we believe it is possible to find commonalities among them. The common elements of a conflict appear to be competing goals, individuals or groups, disagreements, struggles, or hostilities, and a desire for dominance. So using the 4 elements, we can form this standard definition. Conflicts are disagreements and struggles over competing goals between individuals or groups who desire dominance in one form or another. If you examine our definition carefully, you will find implicit suggestions embedded in each element on how one might begin peacemaking. You see, it's more than a definition. Identifying disagreements, uncovering competing goals, identifying all stakeholders, and determining how power and dominance are used can provide you with a much-needed insight into the peacemaking process. We think this is a good definition, but we would like to add one more from a peacemaking perspective. In addition to the 4 elements above, we would like to introduce another definition of conflict which we believe will be helpful to you. Conflicts result from defensive behaviors of people and groups when faced with perceived unacceptable beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors. This definition, which we call the peacemaking definition, contains the following elements: perceptions, people and groups, unacceptable beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors, and defensive behaviors. Now, you might note we use the term perceived along with unacceptable beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. That's because there's often a difference in what a person means to say versus how another interprets what was said or done. Perceptions are powerful, and we discuss them more fully in another chapter. Another difference in our definition is the importance we place on defensive behaviors. We use the term defensive behaviors to describe the fight, flight, freeze reactions people often use when they feel an inner tension towards something that is unacceptable. Sometimes these actions, such as yelling, anger, fighting, and serious disagreements, are easy to recognize. However, other forms of defensive behaviors are less obvious to most people. Often, the more common defensive behaviors are easy to miss and hard to spot by the average person. For instance, if two people have a conversation and one of them feels a need to justify what they said or did, you are probably witnessing defensive behavior. An ordinary person might be surprised to learn that behaviors we see every day represent a potential conflict lurking just beneath the surface of a discussion. So here's a quick list. Justification. That's the feeling you must explain why you've said or done something. Someone stops listening. We'll notice the person changes the subject, shifts attention, turns away, or does other things such as looking away, blaming, pointing out to the other person, you do the same thing. Excuse making, offering excuses for something said or done when that wasn't even the point of the conversation. Apologizing, offering quick apologies and then leaving. This isn't the same as providing a sincere peacemaking apology. These are but a few of the many different types of subtle defensive behaviors people use each day in response to the conversations and behaviors of others. These behaviors provide valuable feedback to someone who's trained to recognize them. They're often the precursors to more significant conflicts. Even though the behaviors appear mild, this does not mean the absence of conflict. People often resort to defensive behaviors rather than engaging in a full-blown argument, even though they may be feeling very angry or uncomfortable. At the same time, we do not want to imply a conflict's underway whenever a person offers an excuse, apologizes, or stops listening. Understanding these subtle forms of defensive behavior may help explain the dismay we sometimes feel as we learn others are less than pleased with us. To our way of thinking, we were engaged in ordinary conversation. However, it may well be something we said or did triggered a defensive behavior. Learning to recognize defensive behaviors helps us diffuse potentially more significant problems. Remember, even mild forms of conflict can be the spark that ignites a larger fire. Let's review today's podcast. We introduced you to the standard and peacemaking definitions of conflict. An understanding of these terms can help the peacemaker clarify arguments and disputes. Sometimes that's all that's needed to resolve a problem. We talked about the importance of recognizing defensive behaviors because these are the precursors to conflict. In our next lesson, we will investigate defensive behaviors more closely. Thank you for listening to today's program. We encourage you to download the script of our show today to help you answer a short quiz.